there, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Friday Night Spotlight, brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning experts specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. We are nearing the end of our regular season. This is the final week for our smaller schools in 2A and 3A, and then we have one more week for our 4A and 5A schools. Our game of the week, for this week is one, we never really thought we would say this, but it is between two playoff opponents. Looking at the rankings right now, Florence is number 10, and they are going to be hosting number 13, ALA-Ironwood. And I got to say, I think ALA-Ironwood is one of our biggest surprises. David, you got to see them last week. What have you seen from this Warriors team?
Yeah, they're absolutely one of our biggest surprises. I mean, going from a team that's never made the playoffs, has never even had a winning record in AIA play, is now on the cusp of winning or getting a playoff chance here. It's really something to credit, because Lauren Dawson has come in there and he's really just turned that culture around, and it's a credit to him and it's a credit to the players. The players have all bought in, and I mean, when I look at this team, I mean, it really just comes down to a guy like Aiden Williams. Aiden Williams is their running back, and he is the best running back in Pinal County. I've seen it firsthand. He is just so dynamic and shifty. He is able to make anybody miss. He is an incredible talent that we all need to be paying attention for, our attention of. I mean, 1,400 yards this year so far, 15 touchdowns. This kid is electric when he's on the field, and ALA is not afraid to continue to just feed him the ball and continue it. And it's not to say that the rest of their offense isn't great as all. Dret Brewster, their quarterback, has done a really good job. May not be so much in the passing game because this is a run-heavy team, but he has done his job when it comes to running the ball and being a dual-threat quarterback. So those two are huge players for this team, and you're going to expect to see them moving forward in this game. And then when it comes to Florence, I mean, we've talked about them all year. They've done a really good job. Logan Stenson has continued to prove why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the county. He's rushed for 486 yards and 6 touchdowns, passed for 866 yards and 6 touchdowns as well. On the rushing game, it's kind of been a little bit, there's been some injuries around, so with that, this has turned into Malik Smith's backfield. He's done a really good job. 723 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's definitely a guy moving forward, so I expect this is going to be a very tough running game for both teams. It's going to come down to who's going to be able to stop it first and stop it effectively, and who's going to be able to kind of show their will on the running side. So I am going to take, I guess, the elder statesman in this one. I'm going to take Florence because they've kind of been on our radar a little bit more, and I think they just have the right pieces here. But it's not in the credit of ALA as a bad football team. They are really solid. I think they still have a chance to have a good playoff run. It's just going to come down to experience right now, and I think Florence has it just a little bit more.
So looking at these two teams, as I mentioned, Florence is number 10, ALA-Ironwood is currently number 13. I mean, this is a good test for them going into the playoffs. Whoever loses, they're not going to be out of this. They're still going to be out. In it, it's just a matter of placement. That's what this whole game comes down to. Whoever wins is going to have the better placement when it comes to the 3A bracket that comes out later this weekend. Looking at Florence, what really hurt them is that loss to Queen Creek Benjamin Franklin a couple weeks ago. Florence lost 10-7 on a last-second game-winning field goal. Other than that, Florence would be one of the top 8 teams right now, and they would have, that home field advantage. So this is a big game for them, Maybe if they get the win, they can sneak up 2 places into a top 8, but I don't see that happening as far as the ranking goes. Will they win? Also, a question for me, like David mentioned, ALA-Ironwood is a really good team, very much improved, and they've been able to sneak out some wins when they really needed it, and that's the big reason why they're in playoff contention right now. But looking at Florence, got to talk about their defense. Evan Quick has 3 sacks for 22 yards, and Zayden Cundiff leads the team with 94 tackles. This is going to be key for them. They do a really good job of trying to shut down opponents against Benjamin Franklin, a heavy running team. They were able to limit Ben Franklin to just the 1 touchdown and then the field goal, which is what lost them the game. So I see them being able to contain Aiden Williams. It's all going to come down to Florence's offense and what can Logan Stenson and his many running backs, whatever they can do, because there's a lot of different options for Florence and whatever way they want to take the ball. Transitioning over to our additional games to watch, David, what else do you have your eye on this week?
Yeah, this week I'm looking at Santa Cruz again. Santa Cruz has kind of been on my radar for a while. It's not a secret here. I'm a Santa Cruz guy. I love this team so far, and this is going to be the biggest test of the year so far. They're going up against the number 2 ranked Pima team that is undefeated so far this year. But Santa Cruz has a shot in here. I don't think if this is going to be a blowout game by any means. Santa Cruz is ranked 4th in 2A for a reason. They deserve to be there. So this is just, to me, this is a game between 2 powerhouses in 2A that can show what that are able to show what they can do. Nathan Harris, I've been talking about him all year. The kid's just an absolute star right now at the quarterback position. 1,683 passing touchdowns with 24 passing touchdowns. This team is not afraid to pass the ball and get it to their receivers. They have done an excellent job in the passing game, and the running game has come on pretty strong too. There's a number of guys here that have done a good job. They're not relying on one specific guy. Aiden Isigari has come around. He's got over 400 rushing touchdowns, 5 touchdown runs. Jonathan Ramos, 367 yards. And then Nathan Harris again rushing as well, 215 yards. So this is a really solid team that's going to have to put in their best effort. This is going to be a huge game for them. It's really just going to come down to what happens in this game, depending on what happens in the playoffs as well. Because if they win, they're probably going to move up, have a good matchup. If they lose, they might move down a couple spots. But I'm just expecting a really solid game here. I'm going to take Pima in this one just because they are the undefeated team. The momentum is on their side, but Santa Cruz is still going to be in good shape for the playoffs coming up.
All right, speaking of undefeated teams, one of those is involved in my game to watch. I'm taking Vista Grande and Phoenix Arcadia. Vista Grande, oi. Oi, that's the only way to put it. Last week was brutal for them. They were in the top 16. They were ranked number 14. They went and lost 26-6 to Gilbert Mesquite, which is like they were 24, 25 around the area, and now they're going up against 5th ranked and undefeated Phoenix Arcadia, which sits at 8-0. This is the big game for Vista Grande. We've seen what their defense can do. Their defense is finally complete. At this point, after taking a couple bumps along the road, Athian Errol is back. He was phenomenal against Mesquite. They have Angel Chidas is back. He is done with serving his 1-game suspension, and these guys were lights out. They only allowed 26 points. That's the most this Vista Grande defense has allowed all season. But it was the offense. The offense spluttered against Mesquite. They had roughly 117 total yards in offense. And, when you want to be a playoff contender, you got to give a little more than that. Quarterback Brendan Hunt overthrew his wide receivers just a bit, and Fernando Moya, he was back his first game in about 3 weeks, I believe, but he still wasn't fully 100%. And on top of that, yes, Vista Grande was doing a good job of moving the ball early on, but they were getting those short yard gains. And the big thing here is you got to be content with those. You got to be content getting those short yard gains because you're not always going to get the big play. And I feel like that kind of took the wind out of their sails. They got a little disappointed on themselves. And I don't want to say they completely gave up, but I feel like the energy wasn't fully there towards the end of the game when it really should have counted. Looking at Phoenix Arcadia, it's another similar matchup. Quarterback Braylon Rooney, really good out of the pocket. So far, over 1,000 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. His go-to guy is Jeremy Smith, 428 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. And then we got to talk about Brady Frost, their running back, 571 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. So Vista Grande has their hands full here. I think the defense can give them a shot to win. It's just going to come down to what can the offense do. Are they going to be stuck in their heads, still moping around about their loss and potentially missing out on the playoffs, or are they going to come in, just kind of lose, kind of free? Nothing to lose. They really have nothing to lose. I mean, you're going up against an undefeated team. People are deeming this the impossible. So, hey, why not just go out, have fun, and see what happens? That's pretty much all the Spartans can do. That's a lot, I know, folks. David, anything else you want to add?
We got a lot of good matchups coming out to round out the next couple of weeks here, and it's really just going to come down to who was able to do it. Like you said, a lot of these teams have nothing to lose, so you might as well just go for it all here for a chance for a spot in the playoffs. It's going to be fun to watch to see how these teams react.
All right, as always, here are our picks for the week. We are currently tied. Fingers crossed I can pull this one out this week. I'm sorry, David, but... Nope. That's just how things goes. Anyways, be sure to tune into Pinal Central for all of your local sports coverage.